And I think my worry was that we would be academic researchers sort of putting our views onto the school stakeholders, and that it would more be the research would be led by us and we'd more just be obtaining their feedback, like rather than it being true co-design. So I think I had to really get my head around what co-design meant.
I think my main apprehension is my stakeholder group would include clinicians and patients in the same workshops. That's a decision that we've made because we think it could work very well if the collaboration goes well, but I'm also nervous about managing the kind of power balances of that situation. But that's something I'm very willing to learn how to do.
And I guess I slightly worried about how I might sort of manage the group dynamics, especially doing them online. But actually that hasn't proved to be tricky going through. I think, you know, again, it's all in the preparation. So I think if your materials that you go out convey the right message in the right way with the right language, then people come to that space knowing what they've signed up for. And I think if you've got your outline of what you want to try and achieve within that space in terms of where you want to try and take that group, and you're prepared for it. The messiness of co-design can be a little bit worrying, but I don't think I knew so much about that before. I think when I first started doing it, I was a little bit overwhelmed with how messy it is at the beginning. And by that, I mean how sort of big, and so how many ideas there are. And sometimes it can feel a little bit overwhelming in that how are we going to narrow this down? But I guess I've learned to be comfortable with the discomfort of it all, if that makes any sense at all. I'm very much I'm quite an ordered, structured person, and you can have your order and your structure in terms of the processes, but what comes into that space, you just don't know what's going to come and how it's going to look or what shape it's going to take. But you have to trust in the process, and you have to trust into how it evolves, and that how, as a group, you can bring it down and start to shape it.
I think where there can be visual concerns are particularly from some of the clinical staff or the operational staff, because they're slightly concerned that people are going to ask for things which are out of the scope, of what is reasonable or what's feasible. So what we always try to do is to, like in one of the very first meetings, is to have a scene setting. This is what the aims of the project are, but also to try and have a excuse me, like an agreed upon ways of working.